And as you know, there was a lot of back and forth about the president's condition over the weekend. A lot of misinformation, some leaks from within the White House. Also, a lot of controversy coming from the Biden camp. KT McFarland is joining us live. She is the president's former deputy national security advisor. She's also the author of Revolution, Trump, Washington, and We the People. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on. You know, one of the first updates we got was actually Friday from White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. We'll play what he said, and then we'll talk about that.
The president and the first lady tested positive for COVID-19. They remain in good spirits. The president does have mild symptoms.
But off camera, as you know, Meadows then said the president's condition had deteriorated and the next 48 hours would be very critical. My question is this: how do you feel about the information that is coming out, the back and forth? This has kind of driven the news cycle this weekend about the true condition of the president.
You know, I think it's unfortunate because it sounds like nobody's really sure. And the one thing we've always learned in the national security world, at least, on president's health, is that you always want to speak with a united voice, and you want the doctors to lead that discussion. So if there's something to report, the doctors should lead that discussion, and then the White House Chief of Staff or others in the White House should sort of follow suit. Because here's why. If it looks like there's a lot of daylight between what the doctors are saying and what the officials are saying, then it leads to the worst kind of speculation and the worst uncertainty. For example, I was at the White House when I was in the administration the day Ronald Reagan was shot. And the Secretary of State came out to the podium and said, "I'm in charge here." Well, in fact, he wasn't in charge. The vice president was in charge. The vice president was on an airplane at the time. And Ronald Reagan was very, very, very sick. He got a near fatal shot to his chest. So you don't want to have the speculation that sort of runs rampant. Not only does it affect the American people, it affects the news cycle, as you just pointed out, Shaun. It also affects the stock market, and it affects foreign leaders because they think, well, maybe there's an opportunity here to take advantage of this situation. So in the future, my guess is they will speak with one voice.
But what do you make of the doctor? At one point, one of the doctors there on the staff wanted to put a positive message out there. Is that okay to do? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'd rather have the truth. But knowing Donald Trump as well as I do, he always wants to have a positive spin on everything. And he wants to look vital. He wants to look strong. And so I think it's an important message to see, Shaun, what happens next.
Yeah,
Donald Trump has this amazing ability to reset the dial. And I think when he comes out of this, he's going to have a very different tone. And he'll speak about coronavirus from the personal experience, having recovered from it. This is not something where we should all hide under the bed and wait for a vaccine for about a year or two. It's something we have to learn to live with. You know,
there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now, or at least behind the scenes of the breaking news of the president battling COVID-19, the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett as well. And I bring that up because there are at least now 11 high-profile cases of COVID now in Washington. 3 of those, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Mike Lee, Tom Tillis as well. We got a few there on your screen. But again, a lengthy one. How do you move forward through this to push through Amy Coney Barrett when you have senators out? It begs the question, can they show up? Can they vote in person? Because you would need to do that.
Well, let's just see. You know, testing positive doesn't mean that you're in the hospital flat on your back for 2 weeks. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It means that you have to continue to take the best medical advice you can. And as far as the confirmation of a judge, you know, it's a convenient thing for the people who don't want the Republicans to have another choice on the Supreme Court, who don't want Donald Trump to make that choice, because they're now saying, oh, no, we shouldn't do this. It's irresponsible. You know something? It's irresponsible not to have a 9th justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. A lot of states are going to have ambiguous outcomes from this election. Ultimately, the decision of who they voted for, where their electors go for the Electoral College, that may come down to the Supreme Court. Do we really want a Supreme Court that could be locked in a 4-4 deadlock? Do we really want the country to go through this? I think it's irresponsible not to confirm and not to have a vote on this latest candidate, because we need a 9th justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. If you don't like her, fine, don't vote for her. But we need a 9th justice. We need a vote.
But if these 3 Republicans don't show up, they can't vote. That would stop the vote from happening, right?
Yeah, maybe it does. But But again, just because somebody has coronavirus or tests positive doesn't mean they can't participate. Doesn't mean they have to lock up for the next couple of weeks and never be seen. And remember, the vote was never expected to be taken until the end of October. By my calendar, that's another 3 weeks away. So there's a lot that can be done virtually. You and I are talking that way right now. There's a lot of the hearing that could happen for her. It could be done virtually via Skype, via Zoom. We've seen that with other congressional hearings, Senate hearings, so why not do it this time?
Let me ask you about this real quick before you go, because you have seen another headline over the weekend is the outpouring of support for the president. You saw a march in D.C. as well. Also in New York, there was a parade down Fifth Avenue. Do you think this actually helps strengthen the president's platform ahead of the election, seeing so many people want to support the president at this time?
I do. I think that President Trump's going to come out of this. He's going to talk about the virus, which is everybody's top topic, from personal experience. And I think he's going to have credibility that no one else in the country can have right now. And so I think it'll end up really resetting the campaign. And I know President Trump. He's not going to take stupid chances. I've been to the White House clinic, the White House doctor's office. It's not a doctor's office like you and I think of it. It's a mini hospital. So he'll be perfectly well cared for there. I think one of the reasons Donald Trump went to the hospital was because they knew they couldn't keep him away from the phones and the desk if they kept him in the White House. So I think it was a way to monitor him and keep him tied down to the bed for a couple of days.
Yeah, that suite is something. That is an impressive stay, something you and I may never see, but nevertheless, only the best there for the president. Well, it's good to see you, Katie McFarland, joining us live. Katie, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Shaun.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.